Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. Let's travel back in time to the 1990s to discuss one of my favorite films of all time. This movie is about three pets who get lost in the Canadian wilderness and they have to find their way back home. It's loosely based on a film, both of which were made by Disney, called The Incredible Journey, which was done 30 years prior, but I've never seen that movie. But today we will be reviewing the 90s film. The movie stars three pets. Chance, played by Michael J. Fox, a young, mischievous American bulldog that likes to cause trouble. He was once a stray dog until he was sent to the pound and brought in by the Seaver family. Chance belongs to little Jamie, the youngest child in the Seaver family. The second pet is Sassy, played by Sally Field, a Himalayan cat who is pampered and sarcastic but well-meaning. Sassy is owned by Hope, the Seaver's middle child. And the final pet is Shadow, played by the late Don Amici, an elderly and wise golden retriever who is pretty much the leader of the trio and tries to keep Chance and Sassy in order. Shadow is owned by the oldest child, Peter. So anyway, the mother of the three kids is marrying a man named Bob Seaver, who is entering the family. The family moves to San Francisco because Bob has a job that requires him to move there. They leave the pets to stay with a college friend of Laura's named Kate. Why they didn't just take the pets with them is beyond me, but whatever. While Shadow and Sassy lie hopelessly waiting for their owners to come back, Chance sees this as an opportunity to explore a bit. Growing restless without Peter, Shadow decides to take matters into his own hands, leave the farm, and go home, with Sassy and Chance following behind. While in the forest, the trio comes across many different dangers. At one point, Sassy gets separated from the others after falling into a raging river while trying to find another way across, leaving Chance and Shadow on their own while they try to survive. Chance and Shadow get attacked by a mountain lion, and they think of a clever way to stop him, by using a couple of rocks as a seesaw and throwing them into the water. The seesaw is a reference and a foreshadowing to something that Chance did to poor Sassy earlier in the movie. In the two Homeward Bound films, Chance does something to Sassy in the beginning of the film that foreshadows what will happen to the villain later in the movie. Right after that, it turns out Sassy survived her river encounter and reunites with the two dogs. On their way back home, Shadow finds a little girl who's lost in the forest, and he helps her find her way back. Meanwhile, Peter is missing Shadow and has an argument with his stepfather and accuses him of abandoning the pets. And worried about the pets, the Seaver family goes back to collect them. Meanwhile, the pets are found by animal control, and realizing that they belong to the Seavers, they bring them to the Animal Rescue Center. But however, Chance mistakes this for the pound and gets scared, which also scares Shadow and Sassy, and they try to make their escape. When they're almost home, Shadow falls into a mud pit and it seems like he won't make it. Poor Shadow tells Chance and Sassy to go on without him, which saddens them. Chance and Sassy make it back home and reunite with the Seavers. But poor Peter is anxiously waiting for Shadow, who doesn't seem to be showing up. So, does Shadow end up making it back? Of course he does. I mean, it was nice seeing Chance and Sassy reunite with their owners, but when Shadow showed up, I was crying. And to this day, every time I watch this movie, that scene gets me every time. I would probably say Peter's reunion with Shadow is the best ending possible in a movie. And that was Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey, and it was an absolute masterpiece. This film is very lighthearted, very funny, and very tear-jerking at times. It was a wild ride, and I highly recommend that everyone watches this movie at least once in their lifetime. A movie that should be a standalone film because the ending was just too perfect for a sequel. And yet 3 years later, it got one, though I will get to that later. Overall, I give this movie an easy 10 out of 10.